An American multinational investment bank and financial services company report has exposed the real intent behind Donald Trump's tariffs, and it says the steep 50% tariffs imposed by US on Indian goods are largely a result of President Trump's personal pique and not being allowed to mediate in the India-Pakistan conflict. And this was according to Jefferies' report. So this clearly goes on to show that the tariffs were not as part of his policy, but personal ego that drove Donald Trump to slap crippling 50% tariffs on India. And you heard that from the Jefferies report as well, because the global investment giant Jefferies says that it wasn't economics, it wasn't trade imbalance, it wasn't diplomacy, but it was the personal pique, personal ego of Donald Trump that resulted in 50% tariffs. We have Pranav joining us live. Pranav, this is a big statement, a big report that has exposed the real intent behind Donald Trump's tariff imposition on India. It says that it was because of Trump's personal pique that 50% tariffs were slapped on India.
Yes, absolutely, Deepak. In fact, it comes from a banking or, a rather investment giant which is based out of US. There are many things that this report has noted, besides calling it an irritation, Trump's personal irritation behind the decision to slap 50% tariffs on India. The report has also called some very important things that the report has noted. It has referred to these tariffs as draconian tariffs, which are not aligned with US's national interests. The report, in fact, also notes that the risks of imposing these tariffs are that New Delhi will get closer to China, and that's one of the things we are already seeing, that we are seeing a bloc emerging against Donald Trump's tariffs. You're already seeing Prime Minister meeting the Japanese leadership today, and then we have the Russia-China meetings lined up later. So yes, the report actually cites that there are more risks to the US economy, or it's not in line with the US national interests, the imposition of tariffs on India.
That's right, Pranav. It is Donald Trump's frustration, his vanity, and his desperation to become a deal man that has resulted in tariffs, because he is completely frustrated because he could not broker a ceasefire deal, and that's what this report also clearly goes on to say. But it is America's own investment companies that's calling out Donald Trump.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, the report also mentions that it's a classic example of conceptual vacuum, and notes that Donald Trump's failure to, in fact, end the Russia-Ukraine conflict and repeated denial that he intervened in the India-Pakistan conflict by New Delhi are two things that seem to have infuriated Trump and taken him away from the Nobel Peace Prize that he's been desperately wanting to get for himself. So yes, these are the reasons, and the report clearly mentions these two reasons.
That's right, Pranav. Just for our viewers to understand, Donald Trump wanted to interfere between India and Pakistan, but India said no, and the response was 50% tariffs, and the American investment company has also said that. Let's now quickly get you updates from across the nation.